In this video, we will be discussing the power of power property and how it relates to the quotient properties. So remember that when you're raising a power to a power, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to distribute every power to, or the power to every coefficient and every exponent in the numerator. You're going to repeat then step number 1 for everything in the denominator. And then it's a division problem, and you're going to see if you can simplify any further. So we're going to start off with some easier examples here. So since the entire fraction is in parentheses, we're going to start by distributing the second power. We don't have to worry about any coefficients, so we're just going to multiply the exponents when we distribute. So we get c to the 12th power over c to the 6th power, and now it's a division problem. So remember, with division, you subtract exponents. So 12 minus 6 is c to the 6th power. Final answer. In example 2, this one does have coefficients, so careful. First, you're going to do 4 to the 3rd power, which is 64, and then multiply the exponents to get n to the 6th power. Then 2 to the 3rd power would be 8, and then multiply those exponents to get n to the 3rd. Then it becomes a division problem, so we're going to reduce 64 over 8 to get 8, and then subtract the exponents, so I get n to the 3rd. So 8n to the 3rd would be the final answer. Okay, let's continue to practice this with some more examples. So in number 1, notice that for the numerator parenthesis, we're going to distribute this 3rd power. Since we don't have coefficients, we don't need to worry about those. So you're going to multiply the exponents when you distribute. So I get n to the 9th power, m to the 9th power. And then in the denominator, we're going to distribute that 3 to get n to the 15th power. And then now, because it's a division problem, I'm going to subtract my exponents. So 9 minus 15 would give me n to the negative 6th power, and then just bring m to the 9th power with that. And then don't leave your answer with a negative exponent, so you need to move that into the denominator. So the final answer is m to the 9th, and then n to the positive 6th power. Since we need to get rid of that negative, we can't have a negative exponent in our final answer. Moving on, example 2, we're going to distribute the 4th power. So first we're going to do 2 to the 4th power, which is 16, and then multiply the exponents. So I get I to the 12th over I to the 8th. Since it's a division problem, now we're going to subtract the exponents with the i's. So I'm going to have 16, and then 12 minus 8 is I to the 4th power. Final answer. In example 3, same thing, we're going to distribute. So 4 to the 2nd power is 16, then multiply the exponents to get r to the 8th. Then 2 to the 2nd power is 4, multiply the exponents to get r to the 12th. So then it becomes a division problem. So I'm going to reduce 16 over 4. That's going to equal 4. And then subtract the exponents. So 8 minus 12 is r to the negative 4th power. So now we need to move that into our denominator. So I get 4 over r to the positive 4 power. Since the 4 is going to stay in the numerator, and just the r needs to come down in the denominator. Okay, number 4. For this one, we're going to distribute the exponent, so we don't have to worry about coefficients. So just multiply all the exponents to get d to the 18th times d to the 6th over d to the 30th times d to the 12th. Now notice we have multiplication on both the top and the bottom part of the fraction, so let's take care of multiplication. Remember, when you're multiplying, you add the exponents. So I get d to the 24th power when I add those over d to the 42 power. And then it becomes a division problem, so we're going to subtract our exponents. So 24 minus 42 is d to the negative 18 power. And we can't leave our answer like this. So we need to bring d into the denominator to make it a positive 18. And if there's nothing in the numerator, we're just going to put a 1 there. So 1 over d to the 18th power would be the final answer. All right, let's continue. We have a bunch more examples to take a look at on the back page. In example 1, let's distribute first. So always distribute first. So 2 to the 5th power is 32, and then multiply exponents. J to the 5th over k to the 5th. And then I can't reduce anything because I can't subtract the j and the k since they're different bases. So that's your final answer. In example 2, again, we're going to distribute. So multiply the exponent to get x to the 8th. And then 3 to the 2nd power is 9. Again, I can't reduce it any further. So that's my final answer. Example 3, let's distribute first. So I get m to the 30th over n to the 5th. I cannot subtract these since they're different bases. So that's my final answer. In example 4, we're going to distribute the exponent. Now careful, because 2 to the negative 2 power is actually going to give you a decimal answer. So you get 0.25 and then multiply exponents. So x to the negative 8, y to the negative 2. Now on the bottom, we're going to do 5 to the 2nd power, which is 25. Then I get x to the 2nd and y to the 6th. Since it's a division problem, I'm going to reduce this fraction, 0.25 over 25. That reduces to 1 out of 100, or 1 over 100. And then subtract the exponents. So negative 8 minus 2 is x to the negative 10th power. And then negative 2 minus 6 is y to the negative 8 power. We can't leave those negative exponents, so we're going to move both the x and the y into the denominator. So I'm just going to have 1 on top, and then 100, x to the positive 10, y to the positive 8 power. Final answer. In example 5, we're going to distribute the 3rd power. So make sure when you type this in the calculator, remember for negative exponents, put it in parentheses. So negative 20 to the 3rd power. You end up getting negative 8,000, and then multiply the exponents, d to the 12th, c to the 3rd, and then distribute the 5th power. So 5 to the 3rd power, when I type that in my calculator, I get 125, and then b to the 15th. Last thing you're going to do, because it's a division problem, oh, I'm sorry, not b to the 15th. It should be b to the 9th. Oops, 3 times 3 is 9. Then you're going to reduce the coefficients. So negative 8,000 over 125 reduces to negative 64. Bring down d to the 12th, bring down c to the 3rd, bring down b to the 9th. I can't subtract any of those because they're different bases. So final answer. In problem number 6, I'm going to distribute 4 to the 6th power. So I'm going to type that into my calculator, and I end up with 4,096. Then multiply my exponents, so b to the 48th. Then I'm going to do 8 to the 6th power in my calculator, and I get a really big number. It's 262,144, a to the 24th. Since it's division, next thing we're going to do is just reduce those coefficients, and they do reduce to 1 over 64. Bring down b to the 48, bring down a to the 24th. That's your final answer because you can't subtract the b and the a. Next one, example 7, let's distribute first 5 to the 3rd power, 125, then multiply your exponents. So I get a to the 24th, b to the 9th, and then 2 to the 3rd power is 8, then I get a to the 9th, b to the 3rd. So I'm going to check to see if I can reduce the coefficients, and you actually can't. So you're going to leave it as 125 over 8, and then subtract your exponents. So 24 minus 9 gives me a to the 15th. 9 minus 3 gives me b to the 6th. And that would be your final answer. In example 8, we're going to distribute. So I get x to the 10th, and then x to the 25th. Over, I'm going to do 2 to the 5th power in my calculator, and I get 32 y to the 5th. Now, because the x's are next to each other in the numerator, this means to multiply. So when you're multiplying, you have to add exponents. So you get x to the 35th over 32 y to the 5th. Final answer. In example 9, I'm going to distribute. So I get x to the 6th over y to the negative 2. And then I can't leave my answer like this because I can't have a negative exponent. So I'm going to bring down x to the 6th and move y to the 2nd up into the numerator. So final answer, x to the 6th, y to the 2nd. Problem number 10, we're going to distribute the 4. So I get x to the negative 16 and then y to the 44 over x to the 4th, y to the 8th. Now, because it's a division problem, we're going to subtract the exponent. So negative 16 minus 4 is x to the negative 20. 44 minus 8 is y to the 36. And then I just need to move that negative exponent into the denominator. So keep y to the 36 in the numerator and then just bring x to the 20th in the denominator. In example 11, let's distribute. So I get 10 to the 3rd power is 1,000. And then y to the 9th, y to the 3rd, all over y to the 15th, and then y to the 15th. So remember, if they're next to each other, you need to put a multiplication symbol there, and we're going to add the exponents when we're multiplying. So I get 1,000 y to the 12th over y to the 30th. And now it's division, so we're going to subtract the exponents to get 1,000 y to the negative 18. And then we can't leave it with a negative exponent, so we're going to keep 1,000 in the numerator and then bring y to the denominator and make it a positive 18. And that would be your final answer. In example 12, again, I'm going to distribute. I'm going to get some pretty large numbers here because I have to do 30 to the 2nd power, which is 900, and then multiply the exponents. So u to the 4th, v to the negative 6, and then do the same thing in the denominator. So 40 to the 2nd power is 1,600. Multiply the exponents. I get y to the 14th, v to the negative 14th. Next thing I need to do, since it's division, is reduce the coefficients. So 900 over 1,600 just reduces to 9 over 16, and subtract the exponents. So 4 minus 14 is u to the negative 10th. Negative 6 minus negative 14 is v to the positive 8 power. And then we just got to move that u into the denominator to get rid of the negative exponent. So final answer is 9v to the 8th over 16 u to the 10th. Okay, last 3 examples. Example 13, I'm going to distribute and do 4 to the 3rd power in my calculator to get 64, and then multiply the exponents. So y to the 27th, then in the denominator, I'm going to do 6 to the 3rd power, which is 216, and then multiply the exponents. So x to the 12th, y to the 9th. Because it's a division problem, let's reduce 64 over 216. That reduces to 8 over 27. And then I'm going to just keep x to the 12th in the denominator, and then I'm going to subtract the y's since it's division. 27 minus 9, that would give me y to the 18th. And that's my final answer. Number 14, we're going to distribute. Careful, make sure you put -2 in parentheses when you're raising it to the 4th power. Otherwise, you won't get the correct answer when you type it in the calculator. So you get positive 16, and then multiply exponents, m to the 32, n to the 4th. And then in the denominator, you're going to do 3 to the 4th power, which is 81, and then multiply the exponents. So m to the 32 and the 12th. Since it's division, we're going to check to see, can we reduce 16 over 81? I don't think we can, so we'll just leave it. And then since the m's have the same exponent, we can just cancel those out. And then we're going to subtract 4 minus 12 to get n to the negative 8 power. But we can't leave that negative exponent, so let's move it into the denominator. So I get 16 over 81 n to the positive 8 power. Last example, example 15, let's distribute the third power. So I'm going to do 14 to the third power in my calculator. I get 2,744, and then multiply the exponents. So m to the 15th, n to the 15th, all over 7 to the third power in my calculator. When I type that in, I get 343. Multiply the exponents to get m to the 12th, n to the third. Then I'm going to reduce, since it's division, 2,744 over 343 reduces to just 8. And then subtract the m's. 15 minus 12 gives me m to the third. And then 15 minus 3 for the n's gives me n to the 12th. So that's my final answer. So hopefully you have a better idea. It's similar to what we did yesterday. You still always start off by distributing first, and then you reduce the division problem. Feel free to ask your teacher if you have any additional questions.